How's everybody doing tonight? This beautiful day, wasn't it? Beautiful day this fall. It was cold this morning, but I'll tell you what, it was perfect couple of days for those that wanted to be in the woods hunting. I was not one of those fortunate enough to be able to be out there, but I saw lots of pictures of people taking videos from their blinds and doing work from there. What a change that's happened over the last few years and what you can do while you're sitting in a tree or in a hunting blind. And lots of great bucks that have been killed too. So just wanted to see what we've got joining here. We've got some comments coming in. Good to see everybody. I just wanted to join you for a few minutes here to talk a little bit about the petition initiatives. And I know most of you are aware that the petitions are now going to be coming for Unlock 2. That's in regards to limiting the health departments. And those are going to be coming in the mail. I expect to have an exact time frame when they're going to begin being mailed yet this week. And as soon as I do, I will do another live and make sure that you are fully aware of what is happening. I know the previous live, I actually showed you details of the envelope. It basically is your shutdown for shutdowns for good. It'll let you know that they're on their way so that you can be prepared in order to take action, get the signatures and return those so that we can get this petition done, hopefully by the end of this year or be very close. That's our goal. And that's our goal for all of our people. But the reason I wanted to join you tonight was the left just never ends, do they? So I wanted to start by going back to Unlock 1 just for a little bit. Do you all remember back in the summer when we were in the middle of petition gathering and all of a sudden the governor had turned over all of her talking points from the so-called Keep Michigan Safe, which is none other than Mark Brewer, a political hack, Democratic operative who was out there attacking our petition initiative and those that were actually circulating it, completely out of touch with who the people are and what it is that they were wanting to do and what they were working on. So I have a letter here. This was the letter that was originally sent to the UAW members. By the way, they were pretty upset, but this letter said, "Dear UAW brothers and sisters, we want to make you aware of a dangerous new petition drive that has been launched that would strip Governor Whitmer of her emergency powers and undermine her ability to keep us safe during a pandemic. We need all of our union brothers and sisters to take action today by refusing to sign. The anti-union paid operative gathering signatures will literally say anything to get you to sign this. We received reports that there are some operatives out there claiming that this would actually help Whitmer. Do you remember this whole story? Well, this was sent specifically along again to all the UAW workers. And at the very top, it said, a spokesman for the United Auto Workers confirms to Mid-Michigan now that the UAW is circulating this letter to its members, asking them to decline to sign. At that time, that letter really angered me because at the same time they were doing this, they had shut down the restaurants and especially the bowling centers, which of course was very much visited by the UAW members who could no longer go there because they were closed unilaterally due to the mandates. And the anger that uprose out of this through the UAW rank and file was a backlash against the governor. I bring all of this back up to you because obviously that was just an effort to get people to be slowed down, to question what they were doing, and barely to let everybody know that the governor is just so careful about wanting to make sure that she keeps everyone safe and that we really just need to listen to her. The reason I brought that up is we're now in the middle of Unlock 2. Not in the middle, we're just getting launched, but we're becoming all of a sudden they're recognizing, uh-oh, here we go again. Uh-oh, the people are rising up and they might actually get the signatures again. And so they're back at it again. I received this letter and I want to read it to you. To the Michigan Nurses Association, another union letter. So I just read you that one from the UAW, so I want to read this one to you because it involves both petitions, believe it or not. I am writing to you with a warning about two dangerous and misleading petitions being circulated for signatures in our state, and if approached, I urge you to decline to sign the petition. Does that sound familiar? They're not even unique, are they? Started over here. We want to make you aware of a dangerous new petition. I mean, honestly, this is the best that they could do. I want to go on. Suppressing the vote. The Secure My Michigan, Secure MI Vote petition would suppress voter participation in future elections. It would also expose absentee voters to identity theft. Here are some of the provisions in the proposal. I got to pull this out. So, number one, it would prevent election officials from proactively mailing applications for absentee ballots to voters. You're dang right it would. At least they're being honest about something. Secondly, it would require absentee voters to reveal driver's license, personal ID, and even partial social security numbers when applying for their ballots. And it would ban charitable contributions, such as volunteer time for assisting with the administration of elections. Those are called Zuckerbucks. Those are called millions and millions of dollars being only invested in Democratic areas, putting up ballot boxes, and putting millions of dollars to hire so called election workers, only to help those that can't quite get their ballots back so that we can drive out. Because, as you probably are or maybe are not aware, under the absentee ballot application process, which they, of course, our Secretary of State said, you don't need to verify those signatures. It's during a pandemic. You just need to assume that it's the same person. Oh, there's a problem. So they immediately mailed these ballots out without verifying them to millions and millions of people. And then it is said that if indeed those applicants were to request help with returning their ballots, some of those election workers can actually go retrieve them for them. So these millions of dollars were used to go out and retrieve these ballots from these poor people that could not deliver them to the precincts and couldn't get there to vote. So those are things, of course, are what it is that we're willing and interested in stopping. You're darn right we are. It goes on to say this petition creates unnecessary barriers that would result in fewer citizens being able to cast their ballots. Voters who choose to submit an absentee ballot would be at risk of identity theft. Identity theft because they would have to provide identity to get a ballot. You're dang right they would. When you had homes getting 6 applications from people that hadn't lived there in 20 years, and many of those were returned and ballots were returned to those addresses that were not requested, there might be a little bit of a problem. That's not suppressing the vote. That is overvoting is what that's called. And that is a serious problem that we intend to stop with the Secure My Vote petition initiative. But the main one here is require absentee voters to reveal their driver's license. Well, according to a new poll, 80% of all Americans, believe that voter ID is a good thing. This is not a Republican or a Democrat or a union or a non-union issue. That's number one. Number two, 74% of all Americans support ballots being returned to election officials by election day. No ballot harvesting. No gathering ballots that we can return as needed to change the votes. We are one of only 15 states that do not have voter ID in place. I guess that means that more than 35 states are requiring people to reveal things about themselves. Now, when I go to the polls, I have to show them my photo ID that matches my registration card, and I have to sign a paper. But I guess if you do this from home, you should not have to. No, it should be a bigger burden. By the way, any of you out there in Michigan land, I want you to drop in here. Just drop in your chat for me. Do you think that when you got your unemployment during COVID, that they required not just for you to get the money to identify that you were who they were? Now, you had your social security number. They had your information from your address, from your tax returns. You sent the information in from your employer saying that you were no longer working, and yet we couldn't send you your checks until we got 2 other forms of ID, which included none other than a copy of your driver's license, a copy of a passport, a copy of whatever else it might have been in order for you to prove who it is you are beyond what it always was. But to vote, now that indeed would be risking people and revealing too much information about ourselves. See, they put the voting area, elections, on some sort of a different platform than they do on you being able to receive what is rightfully yours. You pay into the system. Your employer pays into the system. Obviously, in the case of the lockdowns, they obviously told us we couldn't work. So that particular unemployment issue was there, but you couldn't get through. You couldn't get an answer, and you couldn't get the funds that were due and owed to you. Secure My Vote is going to change this. It's going to change those things to make sure that when it comes to elections, that they're done and run safely, securely, and that every legal vote counts. Why indeed Secure MI Vote had anything to do with the Michigan Nurses Association, honestly can't answer that. So we move to part number 2 here. Putting public health at risk. Another petition called Unlock Michigan 2 would jeopardize the ability of public health officials to keep our communities safe. Here are some provisions in this proposal. It would limit the duration of public health orders to a maximum of 28 days unless approved by politicians. Ooh, you're darn right it would. And exactly who is these health director and health boards? They shouldn't answer to anyone. Last year, in November, during the pause, it was a broad stroke at the state level that said that everybody was going to be closed for a period of time and that certain businesses that were not considered essential were going to be shut down, locked down, shut up. What is your capacity? What is it you're able to do? Who can come in? What they have to wear on their face when they're there? How far they need to be apart? And what time they need to leave? And you need to shut your doors, or you may very well have your license pulled and revoked. While across the street at the big box stores, they're packed in like sardines for Christmas shopping. You're darn right. We're going to limit them to 28 days. Secondly, strip emergency powers from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, local health boards, and other medical experts. You're darn right we are. We're not denying either one of them to declare an emergency or to carry it on for almost a month. And by the way, the Supreme Court agreed 7-0. The 28 days was long enough for the governor to declare an emergency. We believe the 28 days is long enough for a local or state health department. And if indeed this petition had been done, we would have been free before Thanksgiving of last year. All of those mandates would not have been possible unless, of course, they had taken a written plan, some metrics to the legislature or to the local governing body who hires them, and they would have a vote to make sure that we were indeed still in an emergency. Finally, it says it would allow partisan lawmakers to eliminate public health restrictions. You are darn right it would, because this has not been about policy, about health. It has been not been about science. It's been about political science and control of every aspect of your life. Those days are numbered and they know it. This petition is dangerous and puts public health at risk. Its provisions are not limited to just COVID-19. It would also reduce the ability of public health officials to protect us from future outbreaks of hepatitis, Legionnaire's disease, and other infectious illness. So let me ask y'all a question. Do you believe that if they created an emergency based on Legionnaire's or hepatitis, and after 28 days in that particular region, it was still valid, that a local health department, that the legislature would not extend the emergency if necessary, if appropriate? I trust them more than I trust unelected bureaucrats from only large metropolitan areas controlled by major unions and controlled by this governor to make those decisions for the largest population centers in the state of Michigan, and then claiming that it is the majority. It is not the majority making those decisions, just like it wasn't the majority of the legislature helping make legislation. It was the governor creating executive orders, which we stripped from her. We plan on doing the same thing for the local and state health departments and simply putting in checks and balances that would allow the people and the people's voices to be heard. It says state politicians, it's going to stop from using, it would stop politicians from using a loophole, they call it, A loophole in state law allows both of these proposals to be approved without ever facing a vote by the Michigan residents. Instead, the Michigan legislature can simply enact them into law if the petitions have enough signatures. And in this instance, the governor would not even be able to veto them. You're darn right. You're darn right. Like the 1945 law that to this day we would be operated under like a tyrannical governor that she is. And we bypass her veto. Can we look at a couple of vetoes recently? She vetoed removing dead people from the voter rolls. She vetoed our ability to compare the rolls of those who have moved from other states and comparing information prior to and leading up to an election. She has vetoed many election integrity issues. She's vetoed many things that we're looking to protect individuals and businesses from certain mandates that we are facing. But here's where I want to leave you now. They're so overreaching. They believe that if they talk to their brothers and sisters in the union, I have got news for you. You are not protecting your brothers and sisters any more than you did with the UAW last year. And right now, these same nurses, doctors, frontline healthcare workers all across this state are threatened with being fired if not following through on mandates that are being required by both the state, the government, and the federal government as well. Where are the unions defending the rights of their brothers and sisters? Their brothers and sisters are going to lose their jobs. The same people that they demanded and asked for, and let them be those people that would stand up and defend us no matter what was happening in the middle of a pandemic and deal with positive patients on an everyday basis, threatening themselves and their families with the risk of getting the virus when at a time when we didn't know what it meant. Obviously, a vast majority or a lot of those got COVID and recovered. And now they're being demanded, even with natural immunity, even with medical exemptions, even with religious exemptions, in a lot of cases, to be terminated, brothers and sisters. It's time that we strike back against the leadership of these unions. It's not the rank and file. No different than it was the rank and file of the UAW, and I hope there's many out here that you will share this video with. The fact is, this healthcare petition initiative is simply going to put in the checks and balances that allow their voices to be heard on a local basis, at a county basis, and on a statewide basis. We need to have more transparency in what's really happening. It's not happening now. And as the UAW rank and file fought against all of this last summer, joined with us on many petition initiatives, and came and signed and proudly declared that they were a member of a union, I am proud to say that many that exist in the Nurses Association and the unions that represent in this particular letter, that is none other, you read the wording, it's identical. The same people are at work. They've gotten a group of healthcare hacks who have talked about the dangers of this and gone on record. I had to do another article, a news story yesterday. Some of you in Lansing might have seen it on the news. I didn't get a chance to see it. I just did an interview for them because what do you say about these health professionals who are saying that how this dangerous petition initiative is going to limit the health departments? Look, it isn't any different than it was before. We all know what it is we're facing. And I trust the healthcare. I trust the frontline workers. I stand with you, union members. I stand with you as citizens of Michigan, citizens of this United States. I want you to be able to make your own individual choices for you without a risk of losing your job. I want you to be able to make a decision for your children and not be made by some health department at a county level, bypassing a county commission and a local school board. I want them to be listening to the parents, listening to the business owners, and listening to the frontline workers who are seeing exactly what it is that's happening and what's not happening. We need to get these two petitions done, and we need your help. We need more and more people, when you read stuff like this, to say, enough. Enough of feeding us the garbage that you're feeding us. Neither one of these initiatives is going to do anything more than make sure we're following regular protocol, that we are doing things according to and defending the Constitution and the freedoms that, again, were provided to us by, not by our founding fathers, but by our Creator Himself. And we're taking back this state. 2022 is going to be an unbelievable year. But to put them on notice and to gather together, we need tens of thousands of you to look for your petitions in the mail, to fill those out and send them back in and make a statement that you're darn right. We're taking back control of every aspect of our life, restoring the checks and balances with those that are elected officials, and then we're going to demand that they listen to we the people. It's happening one way or the other, but we're going to just speed it along a little bit. And through that, we're going to declare victories along the way. I thank you for everything that you're all doing. And I know there's a lot of questions in here about medical exemptions, about religious exemptions. We're trying to provide as much information as we can and understand there's lots of great things that are happening. I'll be discussing in about 10 minutes on our locals platform. That's Stand Up Michigan. If you go to locals.com, go to our website. You can join locals there. There's a link to join free. And I can be frank there. I can talk about a lot of other things. I'm going to cover 4, 5, 6 other incredibly important items that simply can't be talked about on these platforms. I won't do that on Facebook, and I won't do that on the YouTube channel with all the censorship that's happening. So if you're interested, join us over there. Go to standupmichigan.com, scroll down. You'll see Join Locals for free. Log in and join the live. We can do lives now from there, and I'll be live there in about 10 minutes. I'll be coming back to you again later this week when I have specific information on the petition mailing. And again, if you're interested, please go and sign up at unlockmichigan.com if you're interested and can be a hub. If you are already a hub, again, get in touch with the people there and find out where to turn in those signatures that you already have. We should be making an announcement soon on where we are so far. We're just getting rolling here. And I understand the big effort happens and the big numbers start when the petitions arrive in people's homes and they start coming back. Remember, we sent them out in the beginning last time. We're just sending them out now. So there's a little bit of a drag in what's happening there, but it's going to happen. We need your help. Continue to spread the word and spread this message out to those that are union people and let them know this is not about a political affiliation. It's about you as Americans. And have a great evening. We will talk to you soon. God bless America.